All right, so the Bitcoin bull market is officially here, and I think it's probably safe to say that the bear market is officially over. It's been almost exactly 2 years. I believe it was November of 21 where we seen the top in the at least the Bitcoin price. And in US dollars, there's been several other currencies to where we've seen, Argentina, Turkey, the list goes on of ones that have had all-time highs in the meantime. But if you look at the US, Canada, it was November of 21. So uh, Eric Balkamis, or I don't even know how you pronounce his name, doesn't matter. He's the senior ETF analyst for Bloomberg. Reports BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF has been listed on the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, which handles NASDAQ trades. IBTC will be the symbol. So this is very good news, right? Because it means that now, it's not 100% for sure yet because this ETF is not trading yet. We have no idea when that's going to happen. But I'm no expert, but I get the sense, and I would strongly assume that they would not be this far along in the process and get denied, right? To me, it makes no sense when you consider that like 99% of the applications that BlackRock applies for, they get in the first place, and we're already long past that situation. So I believe the SEC has until January to confirm or deny. So I'm hoping it would be a nice little Christmas present or New Year's present to get that approval, right? Not to mention, too, it's looking like Grayscale is going to win their lawsuit, so they're going to be able to convert theirs to a spot ETF. And the other big question is that if BlackRock gets approved, it'd be virtual guarantee that most of the other ones at least get approved. So what the non-Bitcoiners don't seem to understand about this is that this is going to mean that hundreds of billions of dollars will pour into Bitcoin because of this. And the other big question about this too is that will other crypto ETFs get approved? Because you've already seen spot Ethereum ones get applications. I think there's a spot like market cap. I don't know if it's top 10 or 20 or whatever ones applications. Those ones I don't think have actually gotten anywhere in the process yet, but it'll be interesting to see that. That could be exciting potentially as well. Again, I've said time and time again that I don't think there's virtually any value in Ethereum and in 99% of cryptos. And when it comes to crypto, right, like I've said a million times, people that lump crypto all together, it's them confessing they don't know what they're talking about. And this is one of the other reasons why there is still so much room for Bitcoin to grow. Because if you look at virtually all, like 99% of the traditional, financial advisor types, the Wall Street types, 99% of these guys still think the same old garbage FUD that's been around for 10 years, right? They lump crypto all together, which is like lumping Tattooed Chef in with Apple, right? I mean, it's just laughable that these guys, they know so much about stocks, but yet so little about this stuff, right? And then again, there's the garbage FUD about, it's bad for the environment, and the block sizes are too small, or it can't have as many transactions. Again, all of that's just garbage, right? I mean, it's not bad for the environment. If anything, it's better for the environment because it would force people. I mean, if we had a Bitcoin standard or a gold standard, but a Bitcoin standard, governments wouldn't be able to waste so much money on so much stupid stuff, i.e. less climate or less carbon emissions, right? So again, the idea that it's bad for the environment is it's manipulation at best and just straight up lies at worst. As far as the block size stuff goes, I mean, you look at Ethereum and virtually all of these other ones, okay, maybe they can do more transactions, but number one, it's not decentralized. It doesn't provide final settlement, right? I mean, if your crypto, if it's not decentralized and it doesn't provide final settlement, and it's proof of stake, you're just recreating the existing financial system. You're not actually changing something. You can call it a cryptocurrency, but you're not changing anything. Without decentralized proof of work, you're not changing anything, right? If your crypto has a CEO or an identifiable person behind it, like Ethereum does, Solana, XRP, Cardano, the list goes on and on and on, If they have an identifiable person or corporation behind it, it's not decentralized, right? I mean, if it's proof of stake, it's worthless by default, right? I mean, it's worthless by default. The only way that a crypto has any value, in my opinion, is if it's proof of work and there's no identifiable person or corporation that the government could go after. And this brings me back to people that say, oh, crypto is going to get regulated and that's going to hurt Bitcoin. And it's like, the government isn't even regulating XRP, which is calling it a shitcoin is an understatement. Like, if the government's not going to regulate XRP, massive pre-mine, there's a corporation calling this shit. Like, again, if they're not going to regulate that, they're not going to regulate Bitcoin. Like, it's just laughable that people actually argue this stuff with a straight face. And the reality is they just have no idea what they're talking about. So, again, back to the main point here. The spot ETF is coming. Now, again, should you buy the spot ETF? In my opinion, probably not. Personally, I might use it for options. That's probably the main reason that I would use it. But as far as your main Bitcoin holdings, it should be in a cold storage wallet. Again, if you need permission to move your Bitcoin, then it's not really your Bitcoin, right? Again, that's the Celsius and those kind of situations. Even that kind of taught people a hard lesson, right? So again, if you want to use it to trade, it's the perfect thing. And this is the problem right now, is that there isn't really a good. I mean, there's the miners, but the good thing about this ETF is that it will have a lot of liquidity, right? It'll have a lot of liquidity, which will make it good for trading. So that's what I would use it for. Although, again, short-term trading I think is useless. People who day trade, I think it's stupid. It's not that you can't be successful. It's that when you think of investing or investors, like if you took the top 1,000 people who made their money through some form of investing, what percentage of them are day traders? Like, I would say it's well below 1%, right? So again, the way you be successful in investing is just buying good quality assets and holding it for the long run. And my position on Bitcoin has been for a long time is that I think Bitcoin, again, I haven't been investing for literally like 3 years, right? But as far as I've been around, which again is a very short period of time, I would acknowledge, but it is the best risk reward I've ever seen, and I don't even think it's close. It's the best risk reward because, again, Bitcoin has gone up 100% per year over the last 5 years, roughly, and yet you still have virtually zero institutional adoption. You have literally a couple of countries roughly, I don't even, like El Salvador, that actually have it as legal tender. I mean, again, I don't think people realize how much room there is left to grow still. Like, I think it's clearly superior to gold, and gold is a 10 times larger market cap. Right? So again, I think the bear case maybe a slightly less than a base case. Like, the base case is it's better than gold, meaning you have at least 10x to go. Right? At least. I think it's clearly better. So you're talking double, triple, right? So you have 20 or 30x left to go still. And that's not even accounting for the fact that, gold, the supply of gold, although it's going up slower than the supply of money, than inflation. I guess those technically aren't the same thing, but you know what I mean. It is still going up. And what people don't realize about Bitcoin is that not only is the supply fixed, at some point, within most people's lifetimes probably, the supply of Bitcoin is going to start to go down while the demand is going to continue to be going up. Right? So again, that's another massively, massively bullish thing. Right? I mean, also, we have zero pension funds. right? I mean, that have any holdings. And again, the ETF will provide the ability to do that. So again, I don't think people realize that just adding these ETFs probably will provide into the hundreds of, it will provide into the hundreds of billions of dollars of value, meaning what? It's going to probably add 50 to 100% just with these ETFs. And that doesn't even include once you get that institutional adoption, which would be just as big. Once you get the pension funds start to allocate a small percentage, again, you name it. Once governments maybe start to hold it on their balance sheet, what happens when corporations start to hold it on their balance sheet? I mean, you have what? MicroStrategy has a lot, but Tesla has a tiny bit. I mean, obviously, like Coinbase and some like them would have some, but again, what happens when S&P companies allocate 1 or 2%? Like that's realistic, 1 or 2%. Like again, my point here is very simple. I don't think people realize, even a lot of people within the space, just how much more room we have to go. Now again, obviously there's risk, right? The last thing I'll leave it on here, there absolutely is risk, like absolutely, positively. But one thing that I think people are leaving out here is that a lot of people, even within the space, just assume that the government's going to do whatever they can to spoil it and to regulate it or whatever. But again, you also have to keep in mind that, again, especially as far as the corporations go, they want to make money. So at the end of the day, I don't think BlackRock really has a lot of the incentive would be more to make money than to ruin it. At least you would think. Right? Governments. You don't think that, I mean, look at all these government figures that are getting rich off, $150,000 salaries. You don't think they want to make money? So again, power, greed, all that kind of stuff, yeah, it can come into things, but at the end of the day, if people have to choose between power and making money, most people probably are going to choose making money because power is kind of meaningless if you're broke. Right? So again, like I said, I think that this is very clearly bullish, although the one other thing I think is important here as well is that we very well could have another drop-off. A lot of people might just assume that, it's going to be straight up from here, but again, we could correct back down another 10 or 20, 30%, and then it could be that big bull run. So again, my position has always been that you just dollar cost average no matter what. Right? Every paycheck, every week, every couple weeks, whatever number you want to choose, you simply buy a certain amount every first of the month or every 2 weeks or whatever you want to do. Right? That takes the guesswork out of things, that gets the emotions out of things, and over the long run, if Bitcoin does what we predict it's going to do, who cares if you got a 1,000% return or a 950% return? Like, no one's going to lose sleep over missing out on that tiny little bit, right? So again, that's my perspective, right? That's my perspective. So again, very bullish. This is very exciting. The next step is, again, when is it going to start trading? Because I would be, at least based on my amateur understanding of this, very surprised if it's not going to happen at this point. So anyway, if you liked the video, hit that like and subscribe. Please comment. Again, if you have any feedback or anything like that, I'd love to hear it. And stay tuned for more.